Good morning. I'm Haley Ficasello, and this is your federal crime report highlighting significant federal cases for the Eastern District of Michigan for the month of February 2026. The final defendant has now been sentenced in a sweeping pandemic fraud scheme that cost federal and state agents more than $7.7 million. Timothy Boyle is the last of 8 defendants sentenced in a wide-ranging fraud conspiracy that targeted small business administration and multiple state unemployment programs. According to the U.S. Attorney Jerome F. Gorin Jr., federal prosecutors say all 8 defendants pled guilty to various wire fraud and identity theft offenses before the U.S. District Judge Judith E. Levy. The ringleader of the scheme, D'Angelo Jackson Portwood, 42 of Detroit, was sentenced to 61 months in federal prison. Other sentences included Anton Greenwood, 39 of Detroit, 42 months, Arditha Tillman, 42 of Roseville, 40 months, Marquise Brown Portwood, 35 of Clinton Township, 22 months, Taureen Davis, 44 of Detroit, 12 months, Christopher Lindsay, 38 of Detroit, along with Tyrone Boyle, 58, and his twin brother Timothy Boyle, both of Los Angeles, received 3 years of probation. In total, the defendants were ordered to pay $7,703,549 in restitution to the Small Business Administration and various state workforce agencies. According to the court records between early 2020 and May of 2021, Jackson Portwood orchestrated a scheme that used stolen personal identifying information to file more than 1,000 fraudulent unemployment claims across 17 states and territory of Guam, generating over $5.6 million in iliac benefits. The conspiracy also targeted federal pandemic loan programs, submitting over 575 fraudulent applications for the Paycheck Protection Program and Economic Injury Disaster Loan, many in the names of non-existent businesses or identity theft victims, resulting in an additional $2.1 million in losses. A self-identified Antifa member has been arrested on federal charges after allegedly calling for the murder and assault of federal immigration officers. Federal authorities arrested Kyle Wagner, 37 of Minneapolis, on charges of cyber stalking and threatening communications. Prosecutors say Wagner repeatedly used social media to encourage violence against immigration and customs enforcement officers operating in Minneapolis. According to a criminal complaint, Wagner posted numerous messages in January of 2026, urging followers to confront, assault, and hunt federal officers, at the time describing the situation as killed or be killed. On January 8th, Wagner allegedly posted a video directly threatening ICE agent, stating they were coming for them. In the days that followed, prosecutors say he escalated the rhetoric, openly advocating physical violence and armed confrontation. The complaint further alleged that Wagner doxed a pro-ICE individual by publishing personal information, including an address in Oak Park, Michigan, later admitting it belonged to victims' parents. Attorney General Pamela Bondi called the arrest a clear warning that the threat against law enforcement will be met with full force of federal justice. A criminal complaint is only an accusation. Wagner is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. Federal prosecutors say a decision on whether to seek an indictment will be made in the near future. A Detroit man has been sentenced to more than 9 years in federal prison for firing dozens of rounds in a home where his own child was sleeping. Devontae Cassidy Dokes, 33, was sentenced to 110 months in federal prison after pleading guilty to being a felon in possession of a firearm. Prosecutors say that in May of 2024, Dokes fired 24 rounds into his ex-girlfriend's home while she and several children, including his 6-year-old daughter, were inside. One bullet struck a closet door in the child's room. Another passed through the couch where other children were sleeping. Hours later, Dokes allegedly called the victim and asked, quote, "You still alive?" before hanging up. Ballistics evidence linked shell casing from the shooting to other violent incidents in Detroit area, prompting a federal investigation by the ATF. Federal agents executing search warrants recovered 7 firearms, including 2 machine guns, from Doak's residence and an adjacent location described by investigators as a stash house. One of the machine guns matched shell casings recovered from the shooting into the home. Doakes and Joshua Griggs, 21 of Detroit, were arrested. Griggs, who was on probation at the time, was later sentenced to 24 months in prison in August of 2025 for the receipt of a firearm while under indictment. A former Custom and Border Protection agent has pled guilty to receiving child pornography. Harry Marvel Pacell III, 51 of Newport, Michigan, admitted to 1 count of receipt of child pornography, a federal offense carrying mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years and up to 20 years in prison. According to court records, Pacell sent sexually explicit messages to an undercover officer posing as a minor in the beginning of September of 2024, with near daily contact. Investigators determined that Pacell accessed child sexual abuse materials over the internet and was logged into messaging accounts while physically present at the Gilbert, Michigan CBP station. Pelez has been placed on unpaid administrative leave. Sentencing will be scheduled for June 1st at 9 a.m. A West Bloomfield resident has been sentenced for his role in a multi-state unemployment insurance fraud scheme. Aaron Howard, 33, was sentenced to 41 months in federal prison after pleading guilty in wire fraud. Prosecutors say Howard fraudulently obtained more than $626,000 in unemployment benefits by submitting false claims in Arizona, California, and Michigan, keeping a portion of the stolen funds for himself. Howard was ordered to pay $626,960.88 in restitution. Those are the latest federal crime developments for the Eastern District of Michigan. For Englebrook Independent News, I'm Haley Ficasello. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and thank you for watching.